And good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you. Welcome in to this Storm Track 8 Weather Impact Alert weekend snow discussion. I wanted to have a little discussion to tell you that, yeah, we're definitely going to see some snow as we get into the upcoming weekend. This system is trending a little bit stronger, and the snowfall totals are trending a little bit higher than what we saw at this time yesterday. So just wanted to put the first kind of word out there so you could see what to expect this weekend. And maybe if you haven't made your weekend plans yet, hopefully this will help you in that endeavor as we go throughout the next several hours here. So welcome in. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky. We treat this just kind of like Ask Andrew that we do every Wednesday here on the 8 Plus app. If you have a question regarding the system coming in for the weekend and I don't answer it with the presentation here, you can text that question. We're going to put the number at the bottom of your screen. It's 309-304-0888. So those of you that may not be watching on the Facebook stream, this is how you're going to get your question to me. And then our awesome folks on the digital team will get that question to me right here in the studio. So there's the number at the bottom of your screen. That's where you're going to send your question to. Otherwise, we will get started. We're going to spend about the next 15 minutes or so, maybe give or take, talking about this storm coming in for the weekend. Now, I want to start off with this is not going to be Snowmageddon 2.0. We're not going to see a repeat of what we saw this past Saturday where we're tracking 8+ inches of snow. No, this one will be a little more tame than that, but it is still going to be impactful because we are expecting this to stick to the roads. That means we're going to have slick travel, there'll be low visibility, and there's even the potential we could see some blowing and drifting snow with this as well. So let's get started with what it is that we're going to be tracking. Today we actually have kind of a nice break, not just from snow, but really from the cold temperatures because we're actually going to get above freezing for a couple of hours as we go into this afternoon. So that's going to be nice. But late tomorrow night, especially into Sunday, that's when we're going to focus our attention here on that weather impact alert. And that will be for the snow moving in. And it does look like it's going to be heavy at times. So let's go right into that weather impact alert. Again, this is going to be for Saturday night into Sunday morning. Now, I've adjusted the ending time of this a little bit more because it looks like the bulk of the snow will be ending at about 6 a.m., but I would still give or take a couple of hours after that where we're going to have road conditions that are going to be messy and quite sloppy. So more specifically, here's the timing. It's 10 o'clock Saturday night through 8 o'clock Sunday morning. I know most of you are kind of sleeping at that time, but there will be some folks that are going to have to be out and travel. One of those includes myself. Going to visit some friends in Springfield on Saturday, and we usually don't get back until very late Saturday night once we return. So I'll definitely be out on those roads as the snow is starting. How much snow are we talking about? No, it's not going to be 8 inches. At this point, I don't even think it's going to be 6 inches, but more we're talking about 2 to 4 inches of some light, fluffy, powdery snow. That'll be coming in. Doesn't matter if it's wet or if it's light, though, when it comes to roads, because all of the above will stick to the road surface, especially given the temperatures we've had as of late. That pavement temperature is very, very cold. So it is going to have an impact to travel, again, perhaps as early as Sunday morning. Want to show you this, and thank you, Alec, for taking that full screen as we get right into the maps here. So if you look to our northwest, including Des Moines and areas north into north central Iowa, we have a winter storm watch that is currently in place for that region. There's a winter weather advisory to the west of that. And you may look at the winter storm watch and think, well, eventually we're probably going to get into the winter storm watch, right? Well, I want to remind you that a winter storm watch means that you're expecting at least 6 inches of snow. That's the minimum threshold here to get a winter storm watch. So we're not expecting that much snow. Instead, I would expect the National Weather Service, barring any significant changes from now, to issue a winter weather advisory for us, perhaps as early as this afternoon's forecast package, but for sure by tomorrow morning, I have a feeling the majority of us, except our southernmost hometowns, will be under a winter weather advisory as opposed to a winter storm watch. Let's go right to Future Track, and then I'm going to show you some of the snowfall amount probabilities, the Winter Storm Severity Index, which is just like the one we use to track severe weather. And I'll also show you some totals and some model output as well. So there's your start time, right on the money here with the first snowflake starting at about 10. And what's interesting about these clipper systems that come through, one, we call them clippers because they move quick, and two, we call them Alberta clippers specifically because they originate from Alberta, Canada. But this one, once the snow starts, it's only going to be a matter of about 15 minutes or so until the snow rate really begins to increase and we start getting the heavier snow. Because look at how intense some of these snow bands are. The brighter the color on your screen, the more intense that snow is. And we've got a lot of bright white coming across that screen as we go into midnight and then the early morning hours of Sunday. Look down to our southernmost hometowns, right down here near Macomb and also south of Burlington and Galesburg. Yes, it is potentially warm enough that we may see a mix of rain and snow at times that far south. Now, the amount of that will determine how much it will impact snow totals there. I agree with our in-house and a lot of other models that if you're in Burlington or Galesburg, we're likely not looking at more than an inch or so that far south. The heavier totals are lining up a little bit closer to the Interstate 80 corridor based on all the data that I've seen so far. Let's continue to put this into motion, stopping this at about 5 to 6 a.m. Sunday. The snow's wrapping up on the Iowa side of the river, but it's still snowing and quite heavily, especially west of I-39 on the Illinois side of the river. From Princeton to Sterling Rock Falls there, even into LaSalle, Peru, that's a pretty heavy and intense band looking of snow there. Let's go past that to 6 o'clock and now 7. The snow is finally beginning to come to an end. So we're going to look at some of the snowfall probabilities. Hopefully these will load, and it did. It didn't work last time, but it's working now. So I'm going to zoom this back out. What I'm showing you here is the probability of seeing at least 2 inches of snow, if not more. And you can see those probabilities are very high as you go into central Iowa where that winter storm watch is in place. And honestly, they're quite high here too. You look at the color scale at the top of your screen, and I'll throw the arrow on here to kind of help us point out some things. The Quad Cities is solidly in 60% criteria here, a 60% probability of seeing at least 2 inches. Yeah, it goes down to about 50 the further east you go, but you can tell that this system is kind of going to have the most energy to the northwest of us. It's going to be kind of on the downward spiral here in terms of its potency as it begins to work into our region. At least that's the plan right now. So that's why the heaviest snowfall totals are expected to be in the region of north and north central Iowa. Let's take this up a notch and go to the probability now of 4 or more inches worth of snow. So this would be on the high end of our forecast because our forecast right now is 2 to 4 inches. And you can see again, 4+ inches is likely exactly where you've got that winter storm watch north of Des Moines and also west of Waterloo. So if you have travel plans into the north half of Iowa, Saturday evening, as I would actually say, yeah, Saturday evening is when the snow will start in Iowa. It's Saturday night before it gets here. But yeah, Saturday evening through Sunday morning, especially in northern Iowa, that is where traffic or travel is going to be the most difficult based on everything that I have seen so far this morning. We'll zoom this in a little bit farther here so you can see a very low probability that we're going to see more than 4 inches throughout our region. The highest probability here on the western fringe is only at about 30% right now, and then much lower as you head off to the south and to the east. If you want to look at some of the model data, this is the raw data. So again, this is everything that we look at as meteorologists to see, okay, what's the range going to be? Per usual, we have a couple of models that are going blockbuster with this storm, trying to do 8 to 10 inches. I do not see that happening. That is an outlier, so we're not going to pay attention to that. But we do have a lot of agreement and a lot of consistency in the 2 to 6 range here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's multiple lines on top of each other, and a lot of them are within this range here of 2 to 4. A couple of them go up to 5, maybe 5.5 or 6, but I think this 2 to 4 range right here is a good looking range to me in terms of final snowfall totals. This is our in-house future track run, and this is a newer run than what I showed folks during GMQC this morning, but overall it keeps the trend that really you get to the 2-inch line once you hit Interstate 80, and then it gets a little bit more closer to the 3-inch line as you head north of that, with a good swath of 3 to 6 plus likely to be here in northeast Iowa into Waterloo, I would say west of Iowa City, and into Des Moines and points northward. Also notice too, what I was talking about, that rain snow mix, kind of limiting totals here in Macomb and Burlington and even Galesburg. This is likely where you're going to get an inch or less of snow, especially if we can mix in some of those rain particles with the snow. That kind of cuts down on your amount. So I put everything on a timeline for you so you can see when the snow starts, when the heaviest bands of snow are expected, and then when that snow is expected to taper off. And right here, again, while most of us are sleeping, from midnight up until about 4 or 5 a.m., that's when the heaviest snow is going to fall. So that's giving us a few good hours worth of heavy snow there. Now, it won't be heavy snow all the time, but there will be a frequent number of heavier bands of snow that'll be moving through during that time period. So that's when we're expecting the road conditions to really take a hit, and then the snow will wrap up right before 8 o'clock. Road conditions, though, will still be a little bit messy for an hour or two after that. Let's go to our winter storm severity index and start tracking that. I'm going to put a pause right here. So we treat this just like we would with severe weather. We have our 1 to 5 scale during the severe weather season, 1, of course, being the least impactful, 5 being the most impactful. This one is rated a 2 out of 5, and I would agree with that rating, meaning we're going to see some minor impacts from this system as it comes through into Sunday morning. And by minor, we mean some snow-covered roads. Travel will not be impossible. You will be able to get around, but you are going to need to take some extra time and some more extra precautions as you're out and about traveling late Saturday night into Sunday morning. So 2 out of 5 on that. Again, not terrible. Last Saturday was a 4 out of 5, if that tells you anything. So yeah, this one should be a lot more tame and a lot more easier to manage, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be impactful. We will absolutely see impacts. Now, these Clipper systems, they are known for having some strong winds with them because they're moving so quickly. And this snowfall is likely going to be the powdery, light, fluffy kind. That means, yes, it's going to have the ability to blow around and drift around a little bit more efficiently compared to the snow that we had this past weekend. Here's your wind gust tracker. This is for Sunday morning, and yes, we will see some wind gusts exceed 20 miles an hour. That's not going to create major blowing and drifting, but it will create blowing and drifting, perhaps briefly reducing visibility if you live in the rural open areas. Those country roads, they'll likely drift over as we go into Sunday morning. So that will cause an impact too. Depending again on how strong these winds are. Right now, a couple day or two out from this, we could still change, but it still looks like winds of about 20 to 25 on those gusts will be likely. So this storm system is just now coming on shore. This is what we're tracking for it now. We actually have 2. We have one right now that is currently moving through southern Minnesota. This one may give us a brief period of some freezing drizzle very late tonight. Not 100% sold on that scenario. It is a possibility. But if you do have to travel late tonight, be mindful of that. It would be bridges and overpasses that would be the most impacted from that. But again, that is a very low confidence scenario. But this is one area of low pressure moving in our direction. The other one, the one that we're watching for Saturday's system, just now coming on shore here with that energy, our models are going to better sample that, and they should hone in a little bit better here on some of the snowfall totals in the next 12 to 18 hours or so. So there's the energy again that we're talking about for Saturday's system coming in. Notice, yep, it's going to go right into Alberta, Canada, and then slide its way down in here, bringing us the snow Saturday night into Sunday. I'll give you the 8-day tracker while we're here, and then we'll get to any questions that you have in the chat. We have enhanced streaming coverage planned already for Sunday morning. We're already requesting some extra folks to come in. The Beast will likely be out and about on Sunday morning as well, so you can see for yourself what the roads are going to look like. Hopefully that will help you decide whether you want to go out or not. And I believe we're also going to have a couple other people come in news-wise just to kind of make sure that the operation is smooth and we can give you the best coverage possible as the snow comes in early on Sunday. Notice Monday morning, it is going to get cold again. Anytime you get a fresh round of snow, there's usually some cold air that will follow, and that'll be the case as we wake up to single-digit temperatures Monday morning. But we still get a nice bump in those temperatures next week before we see another potential snow system on Thursday. That will be another one that we're really going to have to keep an eye on. Some early indications are we will see another round of snowfall accumulation there that could potentially be a little bit more than what we're expecting for the one this weekend. So lots of time to track that. And of course, we will let you know if that will be an impactful day. You'll see a red box pop up on the 8-day as you follow with us here on that storm system in particular. But I hope you guys get a chance to get outside today and enjoy some of the warmth. I know Cooper has been dying for a walk. I'm going to try and do that this afternoon since temperatures aren't too bad. Going to have to get through some snow, but it'll be nice to get outside for a little bit. We'll go right into the chat. Again, if you have a quick question and you're not on our Facebook page and not watching on the Facebook Live, you can text your question. It's 309-304-0888 is the number, and then that will get it right to us here in the studio. We have a couple of questions from Billy in Clinton. He's asking about that freezing drizzle potential for this evening, and then he wanted to know the difference between a winter weather advisory and a winter storm watch. So we'll go with the freezing drizzle question first. I'm not too sold on the fact that we're going to have freezing drizzle tonight. It is possible, but right now I'm not calling for it, at least in my forecast. We'll see if that changes this afternoon. It may. There's going to be some leftover moisture that's going to be stuck in the air, and it appears that it may remain in liquid form if it can become widespread, and that would produce a slick glaze of ice on some of our bridges and our overpasses overnight. Again, not a guaranteed scenario. It's only about a 30% probability or so of that happening. So right now it's a very low chance of that happening, thank goodness, for tomorrow morning. And then you're wondering about the difference between a winter storm watch and a winter weather advisory. So I'll pull that map back up as an example so you can see what's going on in parts of Iowa. So a winter weather advisory means we're still expecting roads to be impacted, but we're not expecting large amounts of snow. Generally speaking, you're talking about less than 5 to 6 inches worth of snow. So that's why we have a winter weather advisory here in northwest Iowa, southwest South Dakota. The storm really doesn't look like it's going to ramp up in terms of those higher snowfall totals until that band gets over north central Iowa. That's where you have that winter storm watch. And that's where I also showed you that really high probability of seeing more than 2 to 4 inches worth of snow. And of course, that graphic's going to be shy for right now, but you know what? That's okay. That's the difference between the two products. So I think what the National Weather Service does, perhaps as early as the afternoon forecast package, we'll see a winter weather advisory issued for our region that will go into effect late tomorrow into Sunday. At the very latest, if they don't do it during the afternoon forecast package, you'll see it first thing tomorrow morning, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be put out this afternoon by all indications. We've got Jeff also asking, let's see, when are they going to fix the lights on the Illinois-bound span that have been working improperly for several months? That's a great question. Last I knew, if you're talking about the I-74 bridge, Bettendorf is in charge of all of that, the Iowa DOT, I believe. So that'll be a good question. We'll see if we can get an answer to that. Let's see. Susie saying good morning from Belvedere. 1 to 3 inches. Yep, I am saying the same thing for that far north. I think it's going to be about 1 to 3 inches of snow that far north. Down here, a little bit more. We're closer to Interstate 80. We get a little bit more forcing that comes through. Either way, even if it's only 2 inches of snow, the roads are still going to be a mess as we get into Sunday morning. I don't know what it is about weekends lately that we've been timing these impactful snow events, but I think a lot of us are ready to get it away from our weekends and make it during the week, because I know the kids want a snow day. Maybe the adults want a snow day too, depending on your work setup or a work from home day. We'll see what happens with the late week system next week. Maybe there'll be something involved with that. But for right now, we're kind of stuck on this weekend theme where we keep getting these impactful snows on a weekend. I don't see any more questions. So what I'll do is I'll wrap up our live chat here. And we went 20 minutes. I think that was pretty good. We're going to have, of course, more coverage planned for you all throughout the upcoming weekend. Don't forget to tune back in this evening as well. More updates on the forecast. We have GMQC at 11 coming up. And then, of course, Morgan is in this weekend in the morning. They'll have likely Peter in the evening, and they'll be tracking this storm as we go throughout the weekend. I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. Again, leave the tracking to us. We'll let you know if anything further develops that you need to know regarding the snow this weekend. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you at 11.